Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu are two of the most controversial Pokemon games of all time. That's right, the opinions of the Pokemon community were split in half. On one side you have the more casual fans who really love and enjoy this remake, and on the other hand you had the more hardcore Pokemon fans, who were expecting a lot more out of these games. And of course there were people that were just upset that they didn't get the new generation of Pokemon and got these games instead. So with all these different opinions, I thought it'd be a fun idea to take a look at some of the complaints that I've been hearing a lot recently. And just as a disclaimer, none of the things in this video are meant to seriously bash Pokemon Let's Go, but rather to look at things that could be improved in the game to make the game better. So without further ado, here are 50 things that people complain about in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. I'm going to start off with one of the most obvious problems that people complain about the most, which is of course, no wild Pokemon battles. A lot of people don't like the fact that wild Pokemon battles were just taken right out of the game. The wild battles were instead replaced with just throwing a Pokeball at a Pokemon and just hoping that you catch it before it runs away. However, the weird thing about it though is that there are wild battles in the game. That's right, for some reason they decided it'd be a good idea to just give legendary Pokemon wild battles. Like, why are the only wild Pokemon that we can battle just the few legendaries that are in this game? Another thing that people really complain a lot about is that this is another Gen 1 remake. Recently, Pokemon have really been pushing Gen 1 for some reason, with the Alolan forms and Mega Evolutions, and people are just kind of getting burned out on Gen 1 at this point. A lot of people were really hopeful that Gen 4 was getting the next remake, but nope, just another Gen 1 remake. Sorry Gen 4 fans. The motion controls in these games can be really bad. It's like when you're trying to catch a Pokemon and you throw the Pokeball and then the Pokeball ends up going in the exact opposite direction that you threw it in, and then the Pokemon ends up running away because it sees that this trainer can't even throw a Pokeball straight. Screw this, I'm out. And when you finally do end up catching a Pokemon, it actually gives you experience for just catching the Pokemon. So now instead of training your Pokemon so that they can get stronger and level up, you just catch other Pokemon so that the Pokemon in your party can level up. Wasn't battling them supposed to make them stronger? That makes them level up? Wasn't that the whole point? Or am I missing something here? It just doesn't make sense. Speaking of experience, all the Pokemon on your team get a lot of experience from everything, thanks to the XP share feature, which means that your entire team can easily outlevel gyms quickly, making all of your Pokemon overpowered. And by this logic, you can just sit there and catch Pokemon like Rattata and level up the rest of your team.
Well done!
And not to mention, you can't even turn the experience share off, because in this game you don't have an option to, and it's not an item anymore, it's just a feature of the game. So if you didn't like it, then too bad, you're stuck with it. You can't even play with a Pro controller if you wanted to. So for all the people that bought that controller, then sorry to say, but you can't use it in these games. And instead you're forced to use the motion controls to catch Pokemon, unless you're playing on the Nintendo Switch screen, which actually allows you to play without motion control. Why couldn't they give us the option to turn motion controls off while playing on the TV? They made the gym puzzles so much easier than they were in the original games. Like the trash can puzzle in Lieutenant Surge's gym, for example. And speaking of trash, there was the 2-player mode. I was so excited about this feature when they first announced it. Like me and my brother actually playing Pokemon together in the same game, on the same screen, catching Pokemon side by side. It was gonna be awesome. And, well, the catching Pokemon part together was awesome, because you have to actually time the Pokeball and throw it together at the same time. But besides that, 2-player mode made the game so easy and unfair to your opponent. It made the game so one-sided because battles were 2 against 1. I mean, this guy's face just says it all. I mean, at least make the opponent have 2 Pokemon as well if 2-player mode is enabled. Another problem with 2-player mode is the game lags every single time player 2 leaves or enters the game. There's not much that player 2 can do in the overworld, besides curb stomping the hell out of wild Pokemon.
God, screw you!
Transferring from Pokemon Go makes you have to catch your own Pokemon again, which takes Pokeballs from your actual inventory, wasting your in-game supply, and costing you more Pokedollars. And not only that, but your own Pokemon can even run away from you when you're trying to catch them. And because of this, catching your own Pokemon can take a long time. I mean, it's like I already caught them in Pokemon Go, so why do I need to catch my own Pokemon again? Just let me have my Pokemon transferred to my Pokébox, it's that simple. Eevee is known as the evolution Pokemon, and yet you can't evolve the Eevee that you started with. No Safari Zone. This haircut. No bicycle. Players were easily able to hack the game early. The game cost $60 in the US, which to a lot of people was a bit much for this remake, especially because the game felt really short for that price. But on top of that $60, they wanted you to pay $50 more for the Pokeball Plus controller. And for $50, the controls weren't exactly that great. They have the game corner in this game, and yet you can't even do anything with it. You can easily find all of the starter Pokemon in the wild, so what was the point of the NPCs giving them to us as well? Sure, it's a nice callback to Pokemon Yellow, but instead of catching the 60 Pokemon required to get this Charmander from this guy, I can just walk right down the road to the rock tunnel and catch a Charmander of my own. Gym battles now have requirements. And one of the weirdest requirements for a gym is that you need a level 45 Pokemon to enter Sabrina's gym, which ironically is higher than Sabrina's highest level Pokemon. Player 2 often gets left behind when exploring, and it just feels like you're not even there. Having 2 players makes catching things a lot easier. You can even use both the controllers yourself just to take advantage of this. For some reason, you can't play 2 players when you're in the water areas. No Pokemon PCs. Mega Evolutions were a new addition, but were obviously never a part of Gen 1. A lot of people were upset that there was no voice acting. No, Meowth, that's right! That's it, the game's now unplayable. I want a refund. Shinies are a lot easier to find in these games. I actually found 2 randomly without even looking for them. No fishing rods. I can't nickname my Metapod Penis? This is a deal breaker. I'm not buying it. You can have a level 3 Metapod solo the Elite Four, because in these games, you can give your Pokemon overpowered stats using candies. A lot of the classic in-game NPC trades were removed. No ducks? What the The games feel like a cheap way just to get people more into playing Pokemon Go again. There's not much to do after you beat the game besides catch legendaries, and there's only like very few of those. I mean, at least the Game Boy Advance remakes added Sevi Islands. No HMs. So instead of having HMs, we're forced to use Pikachu or Eevee instead. Speaking of Pikachu and Eevee, you can't get rid of Pikachu or Eevee at all. Well, you can remove them from your team, but they still remain with you on your journey. A lot of people tend to complain that the game wasn't very challenging at all. I went through the game not using my starter, and even then the game was easy. I mean, they could have at least made a hero mode like in Zelda or something. And of course, the most important thing. Why is Gary such a... Wait, what the hell? That ain't Gary. Who is this? Who is this? That ain't right. Wait, but has Gary been replaced? That's right, they replaced Gary as your rival with this guy. This stupid ass kid. And it pisses me off, because it's like, Gary's in the game. He's in the game, but he's not your rival anymore. Why isn't Gary the rival like he's supposed to be? And the guy was a butt, but he was our butt. So, with all that said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna have to give it a 0 out of 10, not enough Gary. But seriously, I really enjoyed playing through these games, and I found myself smiling throughout the whole time I was playing it, because it reminded me of such good times as a kid. Even though these games may not be perfect, they may not be a challenge, they may not be for the most hardcore Pokemon player, they're still really enjoyable and fun. But anyways, I've rambled on for long enough. So, what do you guys think of Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu? Let me know your opinions in the comments section below. Follow me on Twitter @ABrandonThePast for more updates and funny Pokemon stuff. Thank you to all my Patreons for supporting me throughout the years, and if you would like to help the channel out by supporting me on Patreon, the link will be in the description box below. Thank you all for watching. I actually made a new outro for the channel, so let me know what you guys think of that as well. This has been Brandon, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.